What's up, guys? Just doing a video. Basically the point of this video is just to show Ethan and Charlie some stuff, some specifics about the Saber and just like basic how-tos of everything. So apologies to the Saber forum people. Who is going to be kind of long, and I'm going to be spelling everything out. But just, that's why. Keep that in mind. Normal people who aren't crazy lightsaber nuts would need an explanation of some of this stuff. um, but yeah, anyway, um, today is the actual day for which the occasion for this thing is. So I'm super glad to get this. Just in the nick of time, right after this video, I'm going to be getting a hold of Charlie to see when he can get it. But yeah, it's just in the nick of time. And considering, I'm really happy with it turned out. Considering how close it came to disastrous failure right at the last minute. Or it did. I redid it 3 times. This was like a cursed build. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to show you how it came because it's really cool. This is how I'm going to give it to you. So let's give you the quick rundown on it. The idea was to do something kind of like how in TFA, how it's, she finds the saber. I thought it'd be a cool touch. Um, so, this was like a whole family affair. My mom and my sister knew I was looking for something. They were keeping an eye out. My sister had the crate. She was making furniture storage, weathering them, burning them, and stuff like that to give it the look. It's really nice. The camera's not going to show it, but it's really cool. My dad built a lid for it and finished it and stuff like that. Everyone did awesome. The crate was really cool. And then when I got it, basically all I did was I made a little plaque for it, etched in the first line. I don't know if you can see it. There is no fear, which I just thought was really fitting for what the occasion is. But I'll actually show you guys. So this is how you'll get it. The lid's just fitted in there, and it actually matters which way is which. You'll see it just lines up just because it's fitted, just to get the right fit anyway. It fits nice and tight. My dad did awesome on it. But yeah, this is how you get it. I'll try to get this in view real quick here. It's going to be impossible. I'm just holding a laptop up. Sorry about the vertigo. But yeah, okay, so here's the crate. So you just, the lid just pops out. And then here's how everything is in here. The saber is here, wrapped in this red fabric, kind of sealed up with a little Vader pin. Death Star training camp, because I heard Vader's Ethan's one of his favorite Star Wars characters. And then it's just I made some padding here. This little box over here is the Covertech replacement kit. Just the right Allen wrench to take out the Covertech knob if it interferes with the grip. The Covertech knob is that wheel that you'll see in the grip section, and that is what attaches it to the belt clip, which is in this little cloth pouch, along with a retention screw, which is retention Allen wrench for the retention screw. Sorry, I'm struggling to keep this all in camera. I'm holding my laptop above my head in one arm here. Yeah. So anyway, in this cloth pouch is the actual Covertech clip, which is like a plastic belt clip, and that can clip onto your waistline however you want. And then that little wheel that's attached to the saber clips into this this belt clip, this Covertech clip. And so the wheel is called the Covertech wheel, and this is called the Covertech clip. And they mount you can clip the saber to your belt, as they do in the prequel movies. The D-ring that's on it is more like how they are in the original Star Wars films. I like having both. Like I said in the thread, the D-ring has a more natural hang to it, but the Covertech wheel is a little more solid. Um, then there's a stand in here. This stand, you'll see it later in the video. I have one identical that's already out. You can set it up either way so that the saber can be oriented either way. Because these sabers, you need a special stand because of the grips to really display it right. These are from Kuri. Um, he's a Smith Saber forum buddy of mine that makes awesome stands. Well, he makes a lot of awesome stuff, but I scored a bunch of stands from him, and they're sweet. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but then we got the charger, the wrenches. Yeah, and this box, what I was getting at before, is in that box there is a little kit that just has a larger Allen wrench that you can take off that Covertech wheel that's attached to the Saber. If you find it's too clunky for Ethan to try to grip, you can remove that with the large Allen wrench that's in there. And then also in the same little baggie with that is a whole little kit. It's just a little screw that will fit into the hole that's left behind when you take off the wheel. And yeah, let me set this down real quick so I can actually talk. Okay, there we go. But yeah, so you can take that wheel off, and um, you'll there's a little set screw that will fit into the hole that's left behind, and you can just use the wrench that you use to put the blade in and stuff like that. The blade retention screw. It has a smaller Allen wrench. There's one in that same baggie with the larger Allen wrench, and you just use the smaller Allen wrench to put the screw in the hole, and it's trimmed so that you can sink it flush into that hole, and it won't stick down into the hilt and mess anything up. So it's just like a ready-made sort of plug for the hole that will be left behind if you decide you don't like that wheel. And there's also a little bit of super glue in there, just so you can put a dab on the threads, but when you put it in, and then that'll lock it in place so it won't wiggle out on you. But yeah, so let's just show this the Saber. Just gonna kind of open this up here. It's up in the cloth. Yeah, so here we go. Here she is. Try to get it so you can see it a little better. Super happy with it. Got some etching, etched Ethan in Orabesh. Not a typo. If you like Google Orabesh, the TH is one symbol. Some circuitry etching up here with like a gold inlay up there at the top by the bulb release above the Orabesh. If you can see that, that turned out really nice. I'm happy with that. You might find this gold wears off a little bit over time from gripping it. It's layered. It's heavily layered, so it might wear off a bit. It should still stay gold, but I can touch that up. No problem. It'd be an easy touch up. And I'm imagining that every, so often, like once in a blue moon, way down the road, I would kind of just do a quick tune-up, swap out the batteries, a little quick maintenance and stuff on this in the future, anyways. But yeah. Sorry. So some highlights. Just get this right here. Yeah. So some highlights. In the bulb release section here, there's a status indicator light. This has changed like 3 times through this build because the whole internal setup has changed due to various reasons. The last time, which is described in the thread more, was a crazy meltdown that happened right on the day that I was finishing, just in the nick of time before. So it's even a miracle. This is like the little saber that could. It's like a miracle lightsaber that just was going to get here no matter what. I literally, I called in sick to work the other night. Not last night, but the night before. Because I had just finished this 3-day install. And when I pulled the pin, the moment of truth to test it, something went terribly wrong and like just, I mean, it was a nightmare. And then I called in, spent the whole night just getting the stuff out of it. It took me all night just to unpack it. And then at about 7 in the morning, I was starting over with the third or fourth version of the internals for this. So this has changed so much along the way, but I'm actually really happy with this. It's a little, like I said, it's a little more standard, right? Like it doesn't have the emerald. It's a little more of less sort of bells and whistles. But I like what we got here a little better. Oh, hey there, buddy. Oh, hi. Oh, hi. Say hi. It's over here. Say hi. Oh, hey. Sorry. Hi, you. Okay. I'm trying to do a video. You. Hey. Okay. Sit, Bubba. Sit. Arlo, sit. Come on. Sorry. It's like 160 pounds. He kind of can do what he wants unless I'm on my feet. Hey. Okay. Arlo, sit, bud. Sit. Good job. Stay. Good job. Stay. Okay, so, yeah, anyway. So the accent. Sorry about that. This video is going to be disastrous, but I don't have time for another take. So, yeah, okay. There's an accent that's also a status indicator mounted up here. Should be nice and solid. There shouldn't be any problems with this. The way that I mounted it, it keeps everything out of the way. Also, some highlights is got, if you can see them up here in the back of the shroud, some brass plugs that I cut. They're not they don't run solid through. It's actually 4 separate brass plugs that I cut. I like how the configuration, how they sit. It looks cool with the blade plug. I don't know if there's any chance that you're going to be able to see in there at that blade plug when it's not lit, that is. But I'm really happy with the blade plug. You can see it better in the thread. I'll have to link the thread in the video description. I keep forgetting to do that. What else? Oh, here's the Covertech wheel that I was talking about. So this clips into the belt clip and hangs it on your belt, and it hangs it really solidly. It doesn't move around at all. It's the more solid of the two. Java update is interrupting the video. But yeah, if it could be hard to grip. See, like I don't find the T-Trax hard to grip at all, but I'm a full-grown young man, and I got large hands for a small guy. So, you know, I'm kind of a bad example. But if I imagine Ethan's going to be kind of growing into this. So if for now this wheel is in the way or he doesn't like it, I figured he could try it. Right? You can see, and if it's a problem, you can just use the little kit. You can pop this out, pop the set screw in this hole, dab of glue in the threads, and it'll give you a nice flush look in here instead of a hole. And then this will be clear. You won't have this in the grip section. I like to grip right around this because it kind of anchors your hand, to be honest with you. And I like having both options of hanging it because I'm not going nuts. I'll hang it with the D-ring because it's cooler. But you don't want to get bagged by your hilt because they're quite heavy and metal. But yeah, so anyway, there was the blade plug. These here, yeah, I keep forgetting. I gotta explain all this. These two little knurl screws, these nubbies up here, see these? You don't want to try to unscrew these. I'm going to put a dab of glue in these threads. The top one is a retention screw here for it holds the shroud on. So if you want to take the shroud off, you would this screw here comes out, and then you can see how this piece comes right off. This looks you might wonder when you see this, because the textured powder coating or whatever it is on here, it kind of almost, you're like, is that plastic? No, it's aluminum for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna probably put a little dab of glue on these threads right before I clean this up and give it to you, just because you don't really want to be taking any of this stuff apart. This second one here, this lower one, actually what that is a retention screw, the same as this, except instead of holding this piece on, what this second one here holds on is actually the inner blade holder that's sitting. There's an inner sleeve inside, so this metal tube, inside of it is another metal tube that's also cut to match up with these vents, and it's all really precisely mounted, right, so that these vents and the wires and everything can go through. So you really don't want to be loosening these. We want these silver knurled screws here. We want these two to stay nice and tightened down all the time. So you don't want to loosen these two screws, okay? But, and same with this bottom screw here, this bottom black one. You can kind of tell with this one because it's like a flush mounted screw that's like, you'll see just when you look at it, you can tell that there's nothing really that you would need to mess with that for. The only screw that you ever need to even touch on this thing is right in between these two screws. There's a tiny, see in there? So here's these big round silver heads here you don't touch. This bottom screw you don't want to mess with. The only screw you'll ever need to mess with is this tiny little guy that's hidden right in here. And what that is the blade retention screw. So right now the blade plug is in to protect your eyes when it's on, because you don't want to look right into these. It's like looking into the sun. You'll see spots, trust me. Every time I wire LEDs, I think I need welder's goggles or something. Like, damage. um, but yeah, so right now the plug's in. It's decorative. It looks nice, protects your eyes. But when you go to pop the blade in, all you do is you just take the little Allen wrench that is supplied. You've got a couple. You've got one in the main baggie with the Covertech clip and all that stuff, and you've got a backup in your Covertech wheel replacement kit and stuff. It's all labeled, and I wrote little notes, you'll see. But so all you need to do is, you'll ever need to do is this tiny little screw hidden down in there, in between those guys, that little flush mounted set screw that's black. You just pop your blade retention, or sorry, your Allen wrench. You'll see you only have two. You have a big and a small, and or well, two different versions. And so you take the small one, pop it in this screw, loosen the screw. You don't even have to take the screw out at all. You don't even have to take it even close to out. It's quite a long screw to get through all this metal. And all you gotta do is just back it out a little bit, and you'll feel right away your plug or your blade will loosen out. And then to get it back in, you just pop your blade in or pop your blade plug in, and then just tighten your screw back down. If you're just securing your blade plug in, you don't have to tighten it hardly at all. Like I just barely even tighten it. It's not going to slide out on you. The blade, on the other hand, you want to tighten that really good. And actually what I do is I'll put the blade in. I'll show you this in 2 minutes here when I show it. I'll keep the video not terribly long. But I put the blade in, and then I tighten it quite tight. And then I actually shake it around. I give the blade a good shake so that the blade kind of is wiggling around, and you'll feel it in here. You'll feel the blade wanting to wiggle in the socket. I shake it pretty hard, and then I go in and I give it another tighten, and you'll notice it'll turn like another half turn, quarter turn, and then it's nice and tight. You don't have to try to like go so tight that you sink the screw right into the blade. It's not gonna really do it any harm, to be honest with you. Mine are pretty chewed up. The blades are pretty foolproof. They're like indestructible. You can fill them full of dings and holes and whatever. They just keep on going. But yeah. But I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like you'll be able to tell. But just a good tip is put it in, tighten it nice and tight, give it a good shake, and then give it another little pinch of a tightening. Then when you go to start using it, you won't get that sort of loosening, because you'll find over time as you start swinging the blade around and whatnot, the blade will get a little looser on you, and each time you might have to tighten a little farther down. The blade I'm going to give you, that's another thing I should mention, is due to Ethan's presumed height, because he's a younger guy. I only had a limited selection of the shorter blades. I didn't want to give him a blade that like he's not even gonna be able to swing around comfortably. Like the 36-inch blades are like even kind of pushing it for me. So this is a 32-inch blade, which will be plenty for him. It should be a really nice length, and it's my favorite kind of blade. It's Ultra Saber's Ultra Edge heavy grade, because like you could like fend off a herd of rhinoceroses with this thing. Like it's freaking indestructible, and it also looks really nice. The thinner ones are a little bit brighter. They don't stop as much of the light. This is quite thick walled polycarbonate, but I just didn't want to give you something that was going to be breaking. At least I hope. Knock on wood. Jeez. Um, but yeah. So anyway, that was kind of the rationale behind the blade choice. But if you ever get curious about different blades and stuff like that, I can hook you up and point you in the right direction of anything I don't have. But yeah, anyway, no need to. This is already getting long enough. But I really gotta explain this stuff to Ethan and Charlie. Okay, but yeah, here's the Saber, sort of unactivated. This is how it'll be sitting in the crate. Um, when it's like this, you see this little nubby here? It's got the Imperial cog sort of etched in it. Um, this nubby is called the kill key, and underneath of it, what this is it's plugging a hole. The hole that this is sitting in is actually, it's called a recharge port. It's where you plug in your charger. The charger it comes with it. It's in the crate there. So when you get your charger, you'll plug it into the wall, and the charger itself has a little light on it. So plug the charger in first. Plug the charger into the wall before you connect it to this. So plug the charger into the wall. The little light on the charger will light up green. When you see the green light, then you know you're good. You can take the other end of the charger, and it has a little male end that actually plugs right into this hole right here. And as soon as you plug it in, the light on the charger will turn from green, which it was, to red. And then all you do is you leave it. And after a little bit, once it's done charging, that light will turn green again. Now you don't have to take it off at that point. You can actually store the Saber right on plugged into that charger. And I believe that is the way that they tell you is ideal to actually store the batteries. It's just constantly plugged into the charger. It just keeps it topped up. Um, but because of this recharge port and the reason they call this a kill key is because when you plug this, say when you're not charging it, this is just sitting here. Uh, you pop this kill key in, and it actually physically detaches the batteries from the rest of your hilt. And without going on and on about a bunch of stuff that you don't really need to know, all it means is normally you might read or hear about this, and it might even be in the little pamphlet I gave you. So mind this. I gave you a little bit of literature that they give you when you buy a Saber and stuff. It might tell you something like, don't store your Saber with the batteries in it and stuff. Don't be alarmed by that. It doesn't apply to you guys. This recharge port is wired up with this as a kill key, and what that means is it's like your batteries aren't even attached to the rest of the stuff in your hilt when this is in. And the whole reason I'm going on this point has to do with just charging and storing your Saber. So charging is simple. You just, like I said, plug it in, and when the light turns green, you know it's charged. You can leave it on there, and you can actually store this Saber with that plugged in if you want, with one caveat, and that is, I don't know if this is really like a, a black and white thing, but like I know a lot of people are superstitious like this myself. It's got to be a good reason. Um, I prefer to wear the batteries right down instead of just constantly topping it up and topping it up. I don't think that's good for these lithium-ion batteries. Um, I think it's best to run them quite far down. If you run the battery down very far, like right till it's dead, it's not gonna hurt anything. It will shut itself off. The Saber will shut down, and then at that point, you just have time to charge it. Um, so I kind of run mine right down until they either go off or until like after a while you can get a feel and you can kind of tell when it's almost dead. Then that's fine. I'll charge it too. But I don't keep topping it up every time. So the way I personally do it is I actually store a lot of my batteries in the chargers like they say you should. What I do though is I'll keep it on. So if this were mine, let's say this would be sitting on the shelf or whatever on the stand, plugged in with the charger plugged right in, and it would be already full because it had been sitting there forever. So the light would be green on the charger, and it would just be keeping my batteries topped up. But then, with the kind of sort of exception to that is that once I want to use it, so I've unplugged it, now I've used it. Say I only use it for 10 minutes. Well, I haven't come close to killing the battery, right? But the thing is, now that I've sort of got the battery at half or 3/4 or whatever it is, but not spent at all. Now I don't want to go putting that back on the charger just yet. You know what I'm saying? So now at this point, since I'm done using it, it would go back on the shelf, not on the charger, right? Until I kill the batteries with a certain use. Like I'm out using it again, oh, it died. Well, then I'd put it back on the charger, and if I didn't happen to use it right away, then it would sit on the charger. So you see what I'm saying? I say I keep my batteries on the charger, but at the same time, I don't always just go and put it back on the charger. I kind of like to wear my batteries right down. You can make the call on that. It's not gonna make or break anything, and I can swap the batteries if we need to. Um, but yeah, basically, um, the only thing you don't want to do is you'll see in a minute this kill key. So what I mean by and the reason they call it a kill key is since it disconnects the batteries with that in, this thing is like dead, right? It's got no power going to it. I can press the switch, nothing happens because this is in. As soon as I pull this out, this thing sparks to life. It's like arming it. It doesn't turn on until you press the button, but as soon as I pull this, you'll hear it fire up and come to life, and the little lights will come on to let you know there's power going to it. And that now your Saber is live. It's got power, right? So all you don't want to do is leave it sitting on the shelf or whatever when you're done with it indefinitely without this in. So you either, when you go to store this thing, you either want to have it plugged in and charging and just sitting there topped up on the charger, or you want to have it just like this, with the kill key in. With the kill key in like this, it can sit there for just eons, and it's not going to harm your batteries or your board, I should say. You might hear some stuff like you shouldn't leave a Saber sitting with the batteries in. It's true if you don't have a port wired like a kill key. You just don't want, and that's why I say don't store this without the kill key in if it's not on the charger, because you don't want the batteries when this thing sits, even when it's not on, it's alive. There's power going to the board and stuff. You don't want it to sit there in time because for one, you can kill the batteries, and also in the extreme case, the batteries can actually leak, and damage can happen inside here. So you basically just want to make sure you've always got the kill key in if it's not on the charger, or if you're not using it, obviously. Okay, anyway, biggest ramble of the whole video is over. Those were all the instructions of how to actually use it. Yeah, we got the D-ring on the bottom. I really like, I'm happy with how that turned out. I did these little additions in the vents here. I'm really happy with those to make up for the little bits of vent that were covered by the tab. I actually shaped this D-ring myself. It came from a New Hope Graflex D-ring. I put in the brass lamp screws, and this screw, you see there's two brass screws here. The brass screw right here, that's higher up, that's closer to the actual D-ring here, this screw, the top one, that one can be adjusted. The other one you won't have to touch, is locked in with a locking nut. But that top screw, see how this D-ring, it's intentionally, it's a little bit looser, right? So that when you hang the hilt, it's kind of natural, it's fluid on your hip, right? And it makes it a lot easier to detach the D-ring. Well, that's kind of a personal preference thing. Some people like it nice and loose like that, so it's comfortable. Other people don't like the clanginess when it's loose, and they want it really tight so it holds the position. So I just got yours in sort of a middle ground because I wasn't sure which one you'd like, but you can adjust it. You just tighten that screw right there, the one closest to the ring. You'll see which one. Charlie, you'll see which screw it is. That one screw is mounted on the slope of the D-ring, so that if you tighten it, it will actually put pressure on this D-ring, and it'll tighten the D-ring and make it less. So if you tighten that screw all the way, this thing won't wiggle. It'll just hold whatever position you bend it to. If you loosen that quite a bit, it's gonna be loose. But actually, you see how loose it is right here? You don't want to loosen this too much more than it is because the nut will pop off. Not a big deal, because if the nut falls out, all you do if that happens to you, Charlie, if you're loosening or tightening this or whatever for him and one of the nuts pops off, the bottom piece here unscrews. You can just unscrew that carefully though, because the threads are a little bit delicate, but you can unscrew the piece. There you can see the nuts that are holding that in. So if you were to loosen it too far and one of the nuts popped off, they can't go anywhere. They're not going to fall up inside the hilt. It's completely sealed with the speaker in here, and the only access you're going to get into this thing is straight through this, so you don't have to worry. It's got nowhere to go. It's not going to hurt anything. Likely it'll stick. There's a strong magnet in the speaker. Then that'll probably just pop right on the speaker. Just pluck it off. Try not to touch. If you have this open for any reason, you don't really have to go in here for any other reason. But if you do have to, try not to actually touch that speaker membrane. They're really sensitive. If you bend it out of shape too much, it'll kind of give you a distorted, ugly sound. I can change the speaker, obviously, if we need to, if that ever happens. But yeah. So anyway, here's how you work it. So like I said, with the kill key in, it's totally safe to store. You can wear it on your hip like this. What I kind of do is like I would keep it like this, and I keep the kill keys right in on my hip, and then when I want to use it, you just pop the kill key. So you pop the kill key, and it comes alive. Not on, but it's sort of, I don't know, it comes alive. You hear the boot up sound that lets you know that now there's power going to it. And our status indicator light there, I don't know if you can see it because it's kind of a weird glare in here. It's there we go. It's on, and the way I did this is a lot different from the first two incarnations of this. Less on the color variation, more on the brightness variation, and a little more, I think this way, the way it ended up, is a little more of a true status indicator. Probably the other one was too, I guess, but it was with color. This is more with, I mean, you'll see when you first pull the pin, your power indicator, whatever, indicates like standby mode with a very dull sort of like pinkish, I don't know what that is, orangish kind of light. It's the cool thing about it is when you look, like all that is running off the residual, like whatever power is just inside here. So sort of, I forget what you call it, but it's what your Saber uses when it's not on or anything, the idle drain, and that's what this is actually running off of. So that's pretty cool. So this is a visual. This shows you what your Saber is actually using even when it's not using power. So that's pretty cool. That's the actual standby, like that's the current in there right now. It's only a few milliamps, I think, if I remember right. I don't remember exactly what Obsidian uses. It's like nothing. But then also because, see, it's skewed because the way I wired this, there's current in because the dynomes, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but this basically just a few milliamps of power kicking through this light right now. That just lets you know it's just enough to put some color in this light. It's a nice sort of, like it makes it red, but it's not bright at all, which is nice because like when it's bright, it's kind of blinding, to be honest. So it's kind of nice to just have it like this, not too distracting when it's just on your hip or whatever. But yet it is enough that it will remind you, like if you just set this on the shelf, you'll see clearly. You'll be like, oh, it'll remind you gotta put the kill key in. And you notice how, see this kill key, a word on the kill key, it's fitted. So you'll notice like it's not just centered. So like you'll see when you go to put it in the first couple of times, just kind of take a look at the underside of this little pluggy thing here, and you'll see it's contoured and shaped to fit in a certain way. And you'll see when you pop it in. But if you watch the status indicator light. See how it just went off when I popped the kill key in? That killed it. Even though our Saber wasn't on, it was still getting power to it, right? When you pop the kill key in, it cuts that connection. There's no more power getting to this. Completely safe to store or whatever. Again, when I turn it on, you see how the indicator actually uses the power with how the Saber uses the power. So that's kind of cool. It's like a true to life status indicator. So yeah, it's this dull sort of color like this in standby mode, and then as soon as we turn it on, there's the recharge port that we pulled the kill key out of. There's that little hole. It's got a little bit of etching around it, just to kind of tie it in with everything else. So now that the kill key is out, when we turn it on, you press this is the activation button right here. You press this and you just tap it once, this thing fires up. If you while it's on, if you tap it again, it will give you the lockup effect, like when they're sword fighting with them and they clash blades, that sort of sparking that they get when they're holding the blades together. This will mimic that effect when you tap the button. You've got your green blade, which I guess Ethan wanted. It's wicked color, especially on this. It looks awesome on the Saber. And we've got a really nice white, like silver flash, like spark effects. They call it flash on clash. And I just want to show you one thing while it's off before we turn it on. You've got, like I said, we had a compromise and we couldn't get you the infinite sort of, the emerald driver that I was kind of hoping we could get in here. It just wouldn't fit, and I think I wrecked one trying to make it fit, to be honest with you. But you do have some options though. You've got 7 preset sound fonts and then a mute. And I just want to show you how to get to those. So you pull with the kill key pulled out and with the Saber alive, right? You'll see the accent on, but not on though. When it's off, but when it's got power line to it. So with the key out, all you do is you just hold down this button, tap it, turn it on. But if you want to change the sound or whatever, just hold this button. And when you hold it, what it'll do is you'll get a little prompt. You'll get the boot up sound, like the name of the, it'll play the little sound to let you know you've entered the menu. And also here, this cool is watch the status indicator. So when you hear that obsidian, that whoosh obsidian, that lets you know that you're in the menu. So now that was just from holding the button for a second. Now you just tap the button and you can cycle through those preset things. So I'm gonna tap this button. Black Star. There in Black Star, there was the next one. That buzzing you hear, that's the Sith sound font. That's the third one. Ancient Saber. It's Ancient Saber, if you can hear that. It sounds like a, Ancient Saber, go figure. Episode 1. Episode 1. Episode 2. Episode 2. Episode 6. Episode 6. And then the last one just is a beep. That's the mute. So now if I turn this on.
Confirm.
Now it's on and everything. And it's still, it's lighting up, obviously. Still doing, all of the, the effects and whatnot. It's still, doing got all the bells and was fully functional. It's just muted. If I want to change that, let's say, I want it to make noise again, so I just shut it off. Just to shut off the Saber. So to turn it on, you tap the button. To shut it off, you just kind of hold it for a second, it shuts off. So now while it's off, this is how you change the sounds. Just hold the button while it's off until you get that little sound. And as soon as it makes that sound, you can let go. Now we just tap. See, we're back to Obsidian. And you can see that your status indicator actually kind of like articulates. Ancient Saber. Episode 1. See how it's going alive with the Episode 2. Episode 6. Mute. So that beep was the mute font. So there's 7 different sound fonts, and then the 8th one is a mute. And then tap it again. That's the standard one. That's Obsidian sound font. That's named after the board, and that's my favorite, pretty much anyway. So that's what I'm gonna have it set for when you get it. So now that we've got it sitting on the one we want to select it. All we do is we hold down this button again, and if you watch your status indicator, it's gonna flash the other color. So it's gonna flash purple to let you know that and it'll tell you. It'll say confirmed, and then it turns on.
Cancel.
And oh, there you go. It canceled because we didn't pick one soon enough. So I'm just gonna enter the menu again. Brought it over to Obsidian. Now I just hold the button for a second.
Confirmed.
It says confirmed, and now it's back to. So yeah. So that's it. That only took what, 45 minutes. But sorry, that's everything you need to know about this thing. So here's the blade plug. Looks pretty neat. It looks really nice, illuminated. I'm really happy with this thing. I love this Saber. I don't know if it shows up on video, but the accent. No, it's not showing up on this camera. But this accent LED, you guys will see when you get it in person. It's neat. It like actually looks like it's alive with the sound of the saber. It's flickering and dancing and flaring and getting brighter as the saber makes noise. And it actually, as this main blade does its spark effects, your status indicator has spark effects of its own. It'll flash purple. You see that? See how it's red? And then it goes purple. So it has its own flash on flash, along with the green blade flashes white. Kind of hard to show that on camera, but let me just show you the with the blade on real quick. So got the little Allen wrench and that tiny little screw, the only one you need to mess with, like I was saying. Just kind of loosen it, didn't take it out all the way, just loosen it a couple turns, pop out the blade plug, and sorry, let me set this down. Here's your blade. Just gonna pop that. It's got a little rubber cap on it that I'm gonna give you with it just to keep dust out of the blade when you don't have it on. So now that I've got the blade in, I just kind of tighten it, kind of tight, but like I don't crank it, like just finger tight. Definitely just hold the wrench. Sorry, where are we? Definitely just hold the wrench this way. Don't try to like, where are we? Don't try to crank it like this way, like the hard way with more torque. You don't need to get that tight. Just put it in like that way, and just kind of finger tight. And then if you want, like I was saying, then I'll give it a pretty hefty shake, a couple swings, and then just to wiggle it around in the blade socket. And then I'll go back in, and now I notice like it turned another maybe quarter turn, but now that's like super tight. It's not going anywhere. So here it is with the blade in. This is like broad daylight, tons of lighting in here. And you can see it still looks pretty nice. Outside and right in direct sunlight, it's gonna look washed out. But anywhere indoors, it should be good. Even in bright lighting, it should look pretty decent. I don't know if you can see the sparks. Kind of on this camera isn't really showing the white flash, but you'll see in person. It's a really satisfying, like it's a dramatic white flash. It's just LEDs don't show up that great on camera. It's just a thing. They overwhelm the camera. It can't pick up the light very well. But this does have a really nice white spark. You'll see when you get it. The switch. I'll just leave this on camera for a second. See how the switch is changing color? It's a cycling RGB switch, so it actually runs the full spectrum of colors. It's pretty neat. So it cycles through all the colors while it's on, and then when you shut off the Saber, the switch goes off, which is different from the other incarnations of these internals, which had the switch direct wired. But I just figured for battery life, it's probably better if the switch is only on. This battery should last nice and long now because you're only using a few milliamps on the status indicator, and everything else shuts off. So it sort of gave us better battery life. But yeah, there she is. There's Ethan Saber. I better cut this video. I gotta upload this, and just gonna give this a quick wipe down, wrap it back up in the cloth, pop it in the crate here, and she's good to go. I love this. I love this Saber. I really hope you guys love it. Ethan, you, especially you, buddy. I hope you love this thing. There's a lot of little details that we're sort of thinking of you along the way. This hilt is basically, it's basically Darth Vader's hilt with some, well, I mean, there's some pretty significant differences. This section here, the sleeve section, and this clamp section is actually modeled off of Anakin, so Vader, before he was Darth Vader, right, when he was still a good guy. This was the Graflex that he used in the prequels, which is known as the Skinny Flex. It was the first, well, not the first, but it was a sort of unique version of the Graflex in that all the other Graflexes are named Graflexes because they come from camera parts. But that one, the Skinny Flex, was actually just a custom machine piece for the prequel, and it was a really elegant one of all of them, in my opinion. It's what Ultra Saber's bases their Graflex. It's sort of what their model is most similar to, and this is the section off of that. So it's kind of a nice sort of twist because it's Vader's hilt, but with Anakin's, good guy Anakin's sleeve. It's a lot of customizing, obviously, to make it, you know, your own. I knew you liked Vader, so it's kind of like I wanted to give you sort of your own sort of take on that, you know, like it's Ethan's Vader's hilt. And I kind of, to me, like the whole idea with this is kind of like, it's almost like this was an Imperial or this was a Sith saber, but it's kind of like been, I don't know if it's been converted, or you know what I'm saying? Like this just kind of has that feel like it's the green blade gives it away as being more of a Jedi weapon than a Sith, but like it's it's kind of got dark influences and dark, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of that's the vibe I get when I was putting this together. But it's totally done, sort of tailored to what we knew that you liked about Star Wars. So I hope you love this thing, buddy. This is your name in Orabesh, sorry, in Orabesh, which is like the Star Wars language. So that's ETHAN, and then sort of some circuitry inlays, the inlays on the port, all the brass, all this is all custom, and the whole inside is all custom, including the status indicators and and all that. So yeah, hope you love this thing, buddy. And yeah, yeah, have a blast, and may the force be with you. If anything ever happens, if anything ever breaks, don't hesitate at all. I can get it fixed up in no time at all. And yeah, it'll be cool. We'll have to have a mean lightsaber battle sometime. But yeah, take care, guys, and thanks for sticking out. For those of you Saber folk who still made it through this whole video, God bless you. And thanks for all the support throughout the thread. I know, Ethan and Charlie and family really appreciate it. They told me as much on more than one occasion. They said it was awesome to see that. So yeah, thanks guys so much for all the help and support and everything through the thread as well. And yeah, I'll keep you posted. Yeah, enjoy, buddy. See ya.